think outside the box, if you will. I mean, go there, go off campus. Let's think this through. And sure enough, that's where the Mustang was born. When it finally hit, it took the country by storm.
Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Cars in Context. You know, this is the Motor City, and this is the show where we put cars into the context of your everyday life. You can tell we're not at the War Memorial in our WMTV studios right now. We're out here on Harper Avenue. We're at the Harper Cruise 2013, and we're talking to Mike Ferreri. Mike, welcome to Cars in Context, my friend.
Thank you for having us.
Mike runs this fabulous establishment called Ride Perfection Center. It's where I get my classic car fixed, and Mike, you fix more than classic cars.
Yes, we do.
How long have you been fixing cars here at Ride Perfection?
We've been fixing cars here for 43 years. Ride Perfection's been here for 43 years. Domestic, foreign, we fix them all. And John brings us things to keep us on our toes. We're always working on a new car to resurrect.
That's right.
We've had
some of the cars I used to bring in for Mike's shop it's the kind of thing you wouldn't take to your regular mechanic or your dealership. Mike's fixed some of my cars so many times after they've died. He actually called one of my cars Lazarus.
Lazarus.
It came back to life.
We still work on them.
That's right. So Mike, what got you into cars back in the day?
Back in the day, I had an uncle that worked for Ford. My dad did work for Ford. They got us started as we were young kids working on cars, and it went from there. It was cars, Ford Motor Company, the dealerships, to Ride Perfection.
You know what they say?
A good thing.
In Detroit, it's cars, girls, and hockey.
There you go.
So you're not Steve Eiserman, but you still run a heck of an establishment.
Yes, we
now, the
do.
Harper Cruise has been going, I understand this is the 19th year. So Ride Perfection, and a lot of the businesses up and down Harper all support the cruise. What's in it for the businesses? Why do they love this cruise so much?
They like it because all these people come here, they patronize everybody here, they go to their restaurants, they go have their cars fixed here, they go to the Tim Hortons, they go to the auto wash, everything here, it's a plus for everybody. It truly is.
It's really kind of a family atmosphere. So that's really what helps the Harper Cruise be so different than so many other cruises. So
very
folks,
personal.
we're gonna take a little brief look at the Harper Cruise, and we're going to watch and see some of the fine cars. Some of these cars are the ones that Mike fixes right here at Ride Perfection Center. That's every day.
Every day.
So make sure if you're not here, you're going to be able to witness the Harper Cruise through the lenses of our wonderful camera crew at WMTV right after this. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Thanks buddy.
Very much.
See you later.
Thank you.
Well, here we are. We're at the Harper Cruise 2013. Hi, I'm John Clor at Cars in Context. We're here with one of our favorite guest hosts, Chris Sawyer. Chris, welcome to the...
I'm sorry, I'm watching.
We're watching the cars, I know. Welcome to the Harper Cruise 2013.
I never thought I'd see a Volare Roadrunner in my life again.
I know. You're going to see lots of wonderful things out here, folks, today. Chris, we really want to come to a cruise because the end of cruising season's coming already. You know, Michigan has had...
Means you got to go back to school.
I know, it's back to school time. Harper always has a wonderful cruise in late August every year. You know, this is the 19th year for this cruise, which makes it pretty much, that makes it older than Woodward, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so this cruise is all about the Kiwanis Club out here on the east side. They wanted to do something to raise money for charity, and you know, they figured that a lot of east siders worked at the auto companies, so we figured, hey, let's do a cruise, and it's taken off every year. It's all for charity. They, the sponsors, the businesses around town, well, you can buy a Harper Cruise t-shirt or I Cruised Harper sticker, and all that money goes to charity. You can see people are partying already. It's early in the cruise tonight, but...
how late does it go?
Well, you know, it goes 5 to 9, which isn't a very long cruise. You know, but that's what makes...
But considering what's already out here, and it's...
Yeah, it's just started, really. And I think that's what we were talking a little bit about that. You know, why is the cruising phenomenon so big here in Michigan, Chris?
Well, because we're the auto industry, aren't we?
Yeah, this is the Motor City.
And it was freedom for us. It was freedom, and it's not just us. It's Kansas. It's Iowa. It's all over this country. California.
Yeah.
They can claim what they want. The way they did it first, but no, it started here. Sorry.
Nice little Cobra jet. Oh, the Cobra Torino. Those are really rare. Yeah, but let's not. We don't want to get off the subject because I know a lot of people think, where were you in '62 when they talk about the cruising? American Graffiti. Remember the movie?
It's much more than that, though. It is much more than that. And it goes through all generations. And we're starting to see more of the younger folk come in with their front-wheel drive cars, and what we used to call the rice rockets.
That's right. Yeah.
And we need to make room for them as well as we've made room for the people with their classics. I mean, the old cars.
Yeah.
Cars that you would see at Meadowbrook and elsewhere.
Yeah. So you're talking about cruising as a phenomenon. The kids wanted to get into the car. Their car was their external expression of themselves, right?
Yep.
So back, folks,
Still
when you
is.
watched American Graffiti on television or at the movies, that did happen big in the '60s. In Detroit, it was Woodward Avenue, yeah, but it was also Telegraph.
Oh, Telegraph.
It was
Telegraph,
also
yeah.
it was also Gratiot Avenue. I knew
Yeah.
guys that ran up Groesbeck Highway. Wherever we could run, we ran, and then that was the way it
Absolutely.
was. And
Wasn't just Woodward.
No, it wasn't. And the muscle car era was really just made everything just start even
see
crazy. Now, of course, there's lots of nice bikes. You get everything from this big Harley to a little, putt-putt. So you can have everything here
Yes.
at the Cruise. Brand new cars, you'll see the occasional classic.
And it all comes down to respect. It
Yeah.
really does.
Well, I think the fact there are so many different cars, everybody has different tastes, Chris, and
Mm-hmm.
and that's why you see just about everything. In fact, when was the last time you saw a Datsun?
Oh,
No,
been a
not-
while.
I didn't mean the Dutch Hound.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the brand's coming back. We just had that on Cars and Context.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's
Or
why.
Look at that old T-Bird, for goodness
Beautiful,
sakes.
beautiful
That's
car.
Beautiful.
Some of these cars are you don't see them often. They're like you say, they probably pushed into garages and come on, an LTD convertible.
And I just have to say, here comes the '67 Continental. So shout out to my brother who needs to get his on the road.
Jim Sawyer, you were on Cars and Context. Yours was, I think Jim's is a really dark blue. I think that's
Yep.
another good one. There's an absolute beauty. The suicide door. And why do
Yep.
Chris? Why do they call those suicide doors?
Because the rear hinging doors in the 30s had a really bad habit of popping open because they didn't have safety latches. And so it was suicide to reach forward and try to close it
Yikes!
because you could fall out of the car.
People hated to put doors right into traffic, and then as car drives by and it took them right off. But those were the
Exactly.
day. Now, so we're seeing just about everything out here, but let's talk about a little bit about what people say when they go to a cruise. They're out here to see the classic cars. So how do we define a classic car?
Well, a classic car, quite honestly, there is such a broad definition of it, but it is something that is older. Most times, it's not just something from the 30s or the 20s. Those are now the vintage cars.
Like this beautiful Cutlass
50s,
convertible.
60s, 70s. We're even getting into the early 80s now. Things that are unique, different, that were of the era.
Now, the state of Michigan would require you to have a plate that's 25 years old or older to be historical. But we find people that have new cars, this brand new Mustang or Camaro or a Challenger or a Corvette, they're coming out. They want to join the fun too.
Exactly, and they should, because the bloodline is there.
Yeah, I mean, so when we talk about a classic, we say, well, you got a Cuda or a Mustang. Those are brands that we can trace right back into the 1960s. Those are the really important brands that we love.
Exactly.
So now let's talk a little bit about. I know on your side of town, when you go cruising, it's not. Some of it was just fun. It was not. People equate it to racing.
And it's not. It's not just that. There was street racing, yes, and there still is street racing, and don't do it.
It's illegal, folks.
It's
There's drag
also
strips.
Damn dangerous.
It's dangerous.
But on top, cruising is just getting out there, the wind in your hair, the fun of being out there in your car with
Right.
other people who are like-minded.
Right.
Love this Nova.
We just look at the color of
Oh,
this
that's
Nova. That's an
pretty.
SS Chevy Nova, folks. Boy, you'll never see those. And hey, how about
And where else are you going to see traffic where you've got a Charger with a 446 pack followed by a Nissan Sentra?
You'll never see that again, probably. Well, see, folks, this is where you can find a six-pack and you're not in your convenience store.
Exactly.
Hey, and, a lot of people, when they look at me, they don't see a six-pack either.
No, never will.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to
called
join.
prosperity.
I'm going to join the. Yeah, it's called. Thanks, Chris. But no, a lot of people don't understand that back in the day,
It got this bad reputation,
It really did.
much like motorcycles did with the Marlon Brando movie.
Yep.
And that's not what happened. Most people who ride motorcycles have never been in a gang.
No.
Never robbed a convenience store.
No.
And most of them have gray hair now.
Well, a lot of them are CEOs.
Most of the people who are cruising are people you would
Yeah.
be surprised that they're very reputable. They're doctors, lawyers, or they're
Stage one, Chris took Stage 1 Grand Sport
my
convertible.
God, yeah. They're people who worked on the line and built these cars.
That's right.
They're just everyday people, your average Joes, and they just love their vehicles and the camaraderie that's out here.
Now you talk about some of the Detroit classics, and you look at the eras. You know, of course, we like just about anything. Model Ts, Model As, the brass era cars, all are fun. A lot of this came with the muscle car. Now wait a minute. When's the last time you saw the Dodge van?
Dodge
like
A100. Oh my
an
goodness.
A100 van. You never
Look at
see
it. Mustang and Camaro. What says
this
it better?
This,
The Z28.
we're going to be a Z28 and a Mustang.
Yeah.
We're right back in 1960s, folks. This is what it was all about.
Absolutely.
That's right.
That is everything about what it was about.
And then now wasn't that a Rampage or Ram van or
That'll be a
Rampage.
new F-150 when the fuel economy standards kick in.
That's right. So but when we talked about street rodding, you talked about rods just like this one that's coming by. That
But
was
see,
really
it's the word rod that throws people off.
Okay.
They think of the rolled up pack of cigarettes in your shirt
Right.
sleeve, the tattoos,
early
the whole 9
30s
yards.
Ford or Chevy or Dodge.
Exactly.
So
And it's much more than that.
yeah,
There's-
rods. When you talk about the street rodding stuff was cool, but they mixed with the cars of the 50s and 60s. There's a beautiful
Absolutely.
little Mustang convertible, white interior. So you can rod your car, which means you take a stock version of it and then you jazz it up a little bit.
Or you put big speakers on it.
Yeah, get some music. Well, those are the rock stars of the future.
Hopefully they're not the future Miley Cyrus.
You can
but
tell
anyway.
Kermit just got thrown a set of beads. I wonder if he's going to wear them. Yeah, but you can just tell that the people out here are just not. This is more about having fun.
Absolutely. This is what showing pride in your ride is, someone once said.
So basically everybody out here. Oh,
Nice 440 Coronet.
I think I learned to drive on a Coronet back at Denby High School at my.
Really?
Yeah, that was where I learned driver's training.
And that was when back seats were roomy.
That's right, with back seats. But of course, St. Clair Shores Finest is out to make sure everybody stays safe today.
Absolutely.
Have a good time.
And you have to.
We don't, we don't really encourage people to come out here to try to show us all the power in their cars.
No, that's not the
because
point
that's
of this.
dangerous.
The point of it is to show off what you love what you've got, to
Right.
enjoy the ambiance of the people and what comes from all of
We
it.
talk in our show all the time. Pride in my ride.
Absolutely.
No, that was I believe that was a Chevy.
A Chevy Aveo. I mean, you should
How
mark
could-
down this date on the calendar,
Okay, folks,
You
you're
saw
gonna
one
write that down.
had-
That was not a hot rod. That was a Chevy Aveo.
and it absolutely
that
got
made that
rubber, which nobody thought was
The
possible.
only way you could do that is if you dragged it in park. But I'm very impressed with someone getting some. Very impressed. This is why
Nice
this is why it's so much fun.
F100.
Now trucks.
And
Chris,
trucks are coming on
trucks
hard.
were not part of the scene. How come they're so big right now?
Because the whole pickup truck became a part of our life, and now people are saying, hey, vintage pickup trucks are cool too, and
Yeah,
they can do so much with them.
We
Henry
not
J?
sure. Henry J.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw Henry
Also
J?
sold by Sears as the Allstate.
Sears sold the
Yes.
Henry J as the Allstate.
Yes, indeed.
There you go. A little piece of Chris Sawyer trivia for you here on Cars and Context.
Yes, I know lots of stuff that nobody cares about.
This is why we have a car show on
69
WMTV.
Cougar.
Now Cougar, yeah, a lot of people didn't realize those cars were part of the pony car brigade.
They were Mustangs with different bodies, and they were cool.
They sound delicious in there.
They were cool.
Now, if you like the fins, folks, the big fins.
Looky here, we've got Rain Man's car.
Look at this beautiful Buick, folks.
Beautiful, Buick special.
Absolutely stunning.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah, I tell you what, you just never forget the cars of the 50s and the 60s. This is a super.
Oh, super.
And it is super. Look at that paint
Indeed.
job. There's
Somebody
more chrome
spent
on
an
that
awful lot of time than in Rhodesia.
Now here's probably the greatest fins of all time, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
These fins,
59
a
Cadillac.
1959 Cadillac, the most iconic American fins ever made.
Oh, Elvis had one of those, so thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Well, Elvis loved the Cadillacs, and of course he bought plenty of them. But those fins are absolutely something taken out of the aerospace.
Here's something you know.
Oh yeah, there's a
Cobra
Cobra.
Mustang.
There's a beautiful red Cobra Mustang, and then of course right behind it, a slightly modded, rotted, kind of drop down.
And that's what I love, because there's so much room to do things. It doesn't just have to be the actual, here's what the car is, the way it came out of the factory.
So they got a little bit like, it's kind of like what it looked like back in the day, but with their tweaks in it. With their
Exactly.
You can tell.
You can put the disc brakes on it. You can put the new motor in it.
Right, he's
You
got
can
the-
have the interior on it any way you want it.
Upgraded with better steering. Of course,
Absolutely. Usually comes off of a Mustang too, oddly enough.
that's great. That's right. So there's all kinds of different ways. Here's a Celine Mustang police car, and they're not to protect and serve. It says to punish and enslave. I think that's,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not sure that's a real police car.
There
The
you
Buick
go.
Riviera,
Boattail Riviera.
oh my goodness. Look at the black paint on that beauty. Of course, he's got the punched-in louvers in the front
I
lid there.
love the name, the Revenge.
Revenge, very nice, very nice. You know, those Rivieras were, they're still highly collectible. Everybody realized that was a high watermark in that era for design back in the day. GM had some really beautiful cars. A lot of people talk about the era between the, say, the mid-70s and the late 80s of not really pushing out some really great cars, but that's definitely
But then
an
they
example.
occasionally just tore loose and did something like that, and thank God they did.
You know, a red Chevelle, what is more Detroit than a Chevelle SS 396 or any big block Chevelle?
It's a Pontiac Trans Am with a girl named Donna with crunchy hair.
Poofy, we like to call it Poofy. Now, what is the mystique, Chris, about the 55, 56, and 57 Chevy? I mean, why are, when you talk about the
55 was very interesting in that it had a grille that was taken straight off of a Ferrari.
Wow.
And the Ferrari Barchetta.
They call them the shoebox cars, folks. You'll always love. I don't care where you are. You always appreciate it. It was two-tone. A two-tone.
Well, two-tone, sometimes tri-tones, but
Yep.
also is a very balanced design for the time. It was that era where we were moving from separate fenders
Right.
into the box.
Plus, we had the overhead valve V8, which was a big.
Whoa,
big
after the 283 was
what a
heck
great
of a
motor.
for the
Great.
time.
Now, there's one of those
Absolutely.
early 383 Chargers.
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize that was the thing that started it all, the Charger Fastback.
Exactly.
Oh, that sounds pretty
And
good.
then we
think,
have a Comet.
That, now,
if
now,
you
a lot of people didn't know about this red Comet, but that really wasn't a Mercury,
It
was
wasn't a Mercury. It started out. It was designed as an Edsel.
That was going to be the Edsel Compact.
Yep.
And as it turned out, when Edsel failed, they said, well, we got money in the Comet, let's push it over to Mercury.
It was ready to go.
There's a little bit more motor in this vet than most people are used to.
Yeah, when it says Pro Street on the side of it, yeah.
Yeah, Pro Street,
That's a
which
10-second car, isn't it?
roughly, maybe lower. Dual quads feeding through a blower and with wheelie bars on it. That means it's wheelie fast.
Wheelie.
Wheel, yeah, I wouldn't fool you.
Rosanna did it.
Those cars.
The thing that kills me though is look at how many Comets and Mavericks we've seen.
You know,
People forget that the Maverick was a Ford Falcon underneath, the '69 Ford Falcon underneath. Ford made so much money on those cars it wasn't funny.
I remember when it came out, they said the MSRP on the Maverick was $1995.
Yep.
$2,000 car, and now look, a
And you
grabber.
get a 302 in it?
Yeah, well, that
You
was the
could-
hot rod
you
one.
could
Yeah.
just play with
Most
those
people
things.
bought the stick shift 6 cylinders. You got great mileage, 1-barrel carburetors.
And nowadays people are grabbing those cars, taking that 6 out of there and putting in the V8 going.
Yeah, I think there are more V8 Mavericks now than
Than there
Ford
were ever built.
than Ford ever made. I think that's what the enthusiasts.
And we're going to be seeing more of this in the future.
You'll be seeing more SUVs fixed up, raised up,
We absolutely are.
popped up trucks.
And a lot of that is coming not just from the lower level of the SUV, but it's actually coming down from the top, from the Range Rover era. Right down into here, because people are seeing that, hey, it's cool to do this.
As the aftermarket customizes just about anything, I guess everything's game. You know, here's a good example. The Grand Prix. The Grand Prix was a personal luxury car, 2-door, big car, but look, a sporty model. I mean, come on.
You put rust here and there, but that's cool.
You put that, you run what you brung.
Exactly.
You know, this, and we want to encourage everybody.
That's the thing about it. Don't feel bad that your car isn't perfect. Bring it out.
Yeah,
Show people
this
what
isn't.
you're doing.
Yeah, that's the
there
great thing about
are a lot of people
Cruise.
here who give you some ideas too.
Yeah, where you can get your car fixed. Maybe it's mechanically, like here at Ride Perfection, or maybe it's paint and body.
Absolutely.
Whatever your car looks like. This isn't a car show. It's just a car fun rolling stock.
Absolutely.
Run what you brung. So if you got rattle can primer on it, doesn't matter.
Nope.
You know, a lot of car shows are now starting to have a award. I like it.
Oh, Lotus Evora. Oh my God, they'll accept anything. I used to work for Lotus. So.
Look at that Lotus. You
I
never
love
see. Now that's that nice silver they have.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. When do you see a Lotus on the road?
You don't see them that
That's a
often.
little thumpity thump here.
Sitting here with a 454 Chevelle.
Yeah, that thumpity thump here. That, folks, that doesn't mean it's running poorly.
That tells you right there it's running just fine.
I remember one of my favorite comebacks when someone would yell, "Hey, buddy, does that thing got a cam in it?" And of course I'd always yell back, "Well, of course it does. It wouldn't run without it."
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the sound of a wonderfully tuned camshaft, folks.
Absolutely.
That makes it sound so great. You'll still see a lot of Chevelles out here today as well. So, Chris, let's go back to our little a snapshot, if you will, of cruising. You know, nowadays, there's a lot of, since there's so many cruises, the Michigan Avenue Cruise has come and gone. There's the Heinz Drive Cruise, the Gratiot Cruise, Mount Clemens Cruise, Telegraph Cruise. I mean, this Harper Cruise, Woodward, of course. Let's not forget Woodward. Woodward was it's almost too big to roll.
Yeah, with 2 million people out there, that's a lot.
You get 40 or 50,000 cars in a 5-hour period. You don't do much rolling.
No, not at all.
I think that's why the popularity of cruise like this one here on the east side.
I think it's why this is kept on for 19 years, and also why the Gratiot Cruise, and there will be more cruises in the future.
Oh yeah.
Because as Woodward keeps its size, people are going to want something a little more intimate, a little more closer to home.
Yeah.
And something where they're not there in the crush of humanity.
You could come out here, like the families are walking around.
Nice
there.
AMX.
And AMX, when was the last time you saw an American Motors product, too?
About right now.
Now, here's a car a lot of people don't know about. The Prowler, first called the Plymouth Prowler.
Indeed.
It made a little splash when it came out. A lot of people didn't think they'd build something that wild looking, and they actually did.
No, in fact, that was, Tom Gale did that car himself, but it was also based on work that was started as a design that Chip Foose did when he was a student at Art Center College of Design.
Oh, look at that Hemi under glass. Remember that?
Nice Barracuda.
Yeah.
Oh.
Absolutely beautiful. That was, of course, the name of a famous race car, the Hearst Hemi under glass,
Yes,
where they would
indeed.
where they had a Lexan hood so you could see the engine, and the car would do wheel stands down at Detroit Dragway, which
They
is
ended
now
up cutting a hole in the floor so the guy could see where he was going.
It did the wheel stand all the way down the road, so that's why the glass, so you could look through the floor.
They brought that car to the Goodwood Festival of Speed,
No.
and it went all the way up the Lord March's driveway, went through a number of turns, all the way on its rear tire.
Now that is absolute talent.
That's cool. That is really cool.
Now, of course, Detroit Drag, a lot of the East Siders, they had Motor City, and we had a lot of drag strips up north of town. But the Detroit Dragway, but Sibley at Dix was one of the last ones. Of course, now it's just an overgrown field. Yeah, now you have to go all the way to Milan if you want to do legal drag racing, and I encourage anyone who loves the sport of drag racing
do it legally,
to do legal drag racing.
Not only is it safer, you learn a lot more when you're doing it under controlled circumstances, and a lot of the things that you think you're doing right, you'll find that you're actually doing wrong.
Yeah, and it's in a controlled, safe environment. And
Absolutely.
That's the way to drive every time. But so, Chris, let's say you've got a bone to pick with some of the people that come out of their cruises, and they bring out their mom's minivan and with the doors open, or their truck with 5 or 6 lawn chairs in the back. They're just people that want to experience the cruise.
They do. They do, but they have to be respectful to everybody who's around them. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So you've got to respect the people who are trying to watch, but also the people who actually have the cars out there cruising. And it really comes down to that. If we treat each other well, everything will be just fine.
What they need to understand is some of these classic cars are absolutely irreplaceable.
Absolutely irreplaceable, and they're a little temperamental now.
Yeah.
Just like me, when I get older, I get crotchety.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of time, money, and effort goes into keeping our old cars running so that people
Absolutely.
can enjoy them. What's the fun of having an old car? If it's stuck in your garage, folks, get it out of your garage. Bring
Mine's
it
out
out
of my garage. It's going to get painted.
Yeah, thank goodness. Your car was going to be on Pride My Ride, wasn't it?
It was.
It was, that's right.
Yeah.
So, folks, get them out of the garage. If you've got something in rolling stock, send a picture, a JPEG to me, Clor at carsandcontext.com, and we'll put it on Pride My Ride on an upcoming show.
We want to see what you're working on.
Yeah, and we want to know about it too. Tell us a little story about Pride My Ride, because all these people out here, except for maybe the Love Beetle van, I mean the 60s, there was a lot of
If you remember the 60s, you
Peace.
weren't there.
Yeah, Peace. She just gave us the Peace side. Yeah, it's called the Love Bus. Love it.
Trouble is, she was born in 1980, so it's
Yes.
really.
Now, when I see a red Mustang, what's this? Everything that's right about Detroit is a red Mustang.
Nice.
That
nice
is an
GT
absolute-
with a 289.
Oh, you gotta love it. You gotta love that kind of stuff. And that's why I think really makes everybody. It's not just the old guys that
No.
come out and they're watching cars and say,
Doesn't matter what age you are. We saw some pensioners out here earlier.
That's right.
It was wild. They were out there in their 39 Ford, which was, let me tell you, killer.
yeah.
I would have, if I had won the lottery, I would have bought them, no matter what they wanted for it. I would have bought it on site.
Bone stock rumble seat cars.
Beautiful car.
Doesn't really matter, does it?
Absolutely, no, not at all. Get out here if you're proud of it. And you know what? If somebody goes and says something to you, just say, hey, you know what? This is my car. I'm proud of it.
That's all.
Just keep going.
The spirit of cruising still lives. It might have been something that was born 40, 50 years ago, but guess what? It's still alive. And people say, oh, you're wasting gas, you're wasting fuel. What do you say to them? They don't understand the passion we have for
You're
our...
not wasting gas, you're not wasting fuel because you're doing something you enjoy. That's not wasting it.
If you've worked hard to be happy in life, you're on this planet for just a brief moment, and that sounds so good. Oh, God. That sounds so good. Yeah,
Nice
now here we go. Here's a sweet little ride. Love that look.
That is,
And you know,
and he's got a
it's got
Ford
Ford engine in your
it.
Ford. He put a Ford in his Ford.
Just my pet peeve to all of you out there building hot rods. If
If
you're
you're-
doing anything that's Ford, put a Ford power plant in it.
30
if it's a Chevy, you put a Chevy power plant in
32
it.
Ford, and so many guys with their Chevy small blocks.
Yeah, I know it's easier, but be smart and do what's right.
That's right. Oh, Chris, I just, when I get into these situations, you see these cars, you know what I love, folks? The kids. Seeing the kids out here, looking at the cars, enjoying the cars, because they're the next generation. They're
They
going to
will
carry
remember
Detroit
this.
forward. And they're going to
will
say,
remember.
you know, I saw some cool cars I don't see on the road. This is like a special day for them. They'll remember it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What about that car that you used to get the poster of and put on your bedroom wall? Does that happen anymore?
Yeah, it does. It
The
does
exotics?
happen. It's not just exotics. One of the biggest poster cars out there right now is the Mustang and the Camaro.
Yeah.
Those two are really hot. I think when Chrysler comes out with the replacement for the Challenger, which is rumored to be called the Barracuda and probably be sold under the SRT label.
Oh my goodness.
That is going to be wild.
Little
That is
tidbit.
a lovely bike.
Little tidbit, we thank you for that. No, absolutely. Folks, that's why it's so important to get your car out of your garage, to spend time coming to the cruises. You know, we celebrate this because we're Detroit, but guess what? The passion for the automobile is worldwide. It's not just us here
Absolutely.
in Detroit.
Today, everybody's Detroit.
If we here in Detroit can't be proud,
Hey, there's a Maserati for God's sake.
that's a brand new
fabulous.
Maserati. Yeah, next to a home-built, scratch-built garage, primer rattle can black classic.
I love
There's
it.
a Cranbrook convertible,
I love it.
a Plymouth Cranbrook. You don't see those too often either.
And folks, if you want one of these cars, looking Hemmings, looking all the
Yeah.
books, you'd be surprised. These things are available.
I think
and some of
that's-
them are very good.
That's the answer, folks. If you don't have a classic, if you only have the minivan, it's time to go onto eBay. You know, check out the all the listings, buy something, enjoy it.
An Edsel,
Now here's a wonderful
a
example.
car that I think got a bad rap.
It really did. You know, we're going to do a show on that, Chris. We're going to talk about cars that got a bad rap. That Edsel, you know, was
Corsair.
kind of a little bit ahead of its time back in the day.
And so was I, but
Well, speaking of ahead of its time, we're running down on time here on the Edsel Cruise, the Harper Cruise. We're having so much fun. Folks, if you weren't able to get out here, we hope you can watch Cars in Context, rerun it a couple times, take a look at the cars that went by that you didn't see the first time. That's what we're going to do.
absolutely.
Chris and I are now going to run up and down the street here and catch as many cool old rides as we can. And remember, when you go looking for car fun, look on WMTV and catch Cars in Context. That's because this is the car show that really dials you into the Motor City. Don't forget, knowledge is power. And that's why you're watching us. Until next time, for Chris Sawyer here at the Harper Cruise 2013, I'm John Clor, and thanks for watching.